And I think a great model is the way we did Desert Storm and Desert Shield. President H.W. Bush, James Baker, Brent Scowcroft, Colin Powell, Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dick Cheney was Secretary of Defense. But the first thing they did is went to the United Nations and were able to achieve a resolution authorizing the use of force. There were some limitations on it, but people in the region told me this really gave us cover. We could join it. And then they structured the kind of force they would need. And they asked the regional powers and others outside the region, Europeans and others, what kind of structure they could operate under. We formed two structures. We actually formed a Muslim coalition under Prince Khalid, if you remember, that worked side by side and in parallel with General Schwarzkopf. The other remaining nations, Europeans and others, were under General Schwarzkopf. Now that's very awkward for military to work with a dual chain of command like that, but it was, I think, diplomatic genius in the way it was done. So we built this coalition, and we built it in the right way. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two, going to the Powell Doctrine, we used overwhelming force, which we should have done if we were going to go into Iraq and Afghanistan in the first place. I think a lot of the problems we have now is violating that. You know, we're the biggest guy in town. Why would you not use your strength? So we had this overwhelming amount of force. That allowed for several things to happen. One, we overwhelmed the enemy. I mean, that battle took hours before we resolved it and had Saddam's forces out of Iraq. But secondly, it showed our power, it showed our resolve, it showed our determination, and allowed others to join us. I can't understand how we're going to create a coalition that we're going to lead, and we are not going to have forces on the ground. I guess this thing will evolve, and we'll see how it's going to come about. But in my military experience, if you're going to lead it and control it, you got to be part of the fight. And the principal part of this fight is going to be the ground piece. This aversion to boots on the ground, I don't understand. It's another military capability. I actually believe there are occasions when boots on the ground in overwhelming force resolve an issue much quicker. And I think that, you know, look, all the threats we have now are nowhere near the danger of the moments we had during the Cold War and certainly at the beginning of the Cold War. And so, you know, I would think we were able to rise to the occasion then, and I think we've lost our way. We've lost our way strategically. We don't think that way anymore. We've lost that way, our way as a nation, in that even though we could have political differences, we can work together. We have allowed the worst parts of politics, patronage, pork, and the other things that should have been long gone from our system, building bloated bureaucracies. We've allowed that to constipate our government in the way we do business.